All right, let's dive into this explainer. We're looking at a massive, and I mean literally massive, paradigm shift in AI cybersecurity. For the longest time, the absolute holy grail of security tooling was simply finding bugs faster. But today, we're moving totally past that. Think of it like this. Instead of a basic alarm system that just rings when a burglar breaks a window, imagine a system that instantly rebuilds a solid brick wall right in the burglar's face, completely on its own. That's the era we're stepping into. It's an era of autonomous fixes, where AI doesn't just spot the hole in the fence, it actually builds the patch and deploys it. But, as you'll see as we go through this, handing the keys over to a machine brings up a truly staggering set of ethical and legal hurdles.
To get why the shift is happening right now, we have to look at the current threat landscape. The Five Eyes, the intelligence alliance between the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, well, they just dropped a pretty stark warning. They're explicitly stating that frontier AI models are shrinking the window between finding a vulnerability and actually exploiting it to practically zero. Adversaries are already using AI to speed up their attacks in ways we literally haven't seen before. So we aren't talking about some theoretical sci-fi future threat anymore. This is a massive transformation happening right now, and as they put it, on a timeline measured in months, not years.
So that drops us into the ultimate high-stakes situation. Think about the traditional cybersecurity rhythm for a second. Quarterly scans, periodic penetration tests, manual triage, and finally, some delayed remediation. Honestly, that rhythm is completely dead. If attacks are being generated, modified, and executed in milliseconds, manual human patching simply cannot survive the onslaught. Human analysts have to sleep, eat, and take the time to read through dense vulnerability reports. The human bottleneck isn't just an inefficiency anymore. It's basically become a critical vulnerability in itself.
Section 1. Enter GPT 5.5 Cyber. The answer to that urgent threat might just lie in the latest generation of specialized AI, specifically OpenAI's limited preview release of GPT 5.5 Cyber, which developers internally call SPUD. The Trusted Access for Cyber, or TAC, program treats this incredibly powerful tool as a strict credentialing problem, rather than just a, pricing tier. This isn't your standard public release where anyone can just spin up an exploit bot. While the default GPT 5.5 has those standard general safeguards we're used to, GPT 5.5 Cyber is highly permissive. It's custom-built to do advanced vulnerability analysis and patch validation. Because it's so powerful, organizations actually have to prove authorization. They have to use phishing-resistant authentication just to access it, meaning physical hardware security keys plugged right into a machine, not just a password someone could easily guess or steal. And the capabilities of this model are seriously impressive. It significantly outperforms baseline models across complex security reasoning. For instance, it scores over 85% on CyberGem. To put that in plain English, if you throw a highly complex, known vulnerability at it, this AI agent can successfully reproduce a hack almost 9 times out of 10. But okay, let's take a step back. While these numbers are deeply impressive, raw benchmarks don't automatically guarantee safe, operational fixes out in the real world. In a live network environment, you're dealing with messy constraints, incomplete test coverage, ambiguous code ownership, and weird platform-specific behaviors that a pristine benchmark environment just doesn't account for.
Section 2. Patching the planet.
This operational breakthrough is really where AI moves from just noisy bug finding to verified remediation. Picture a totally exhausted engineer drowning in vulnerability dashboards. The new Codex security loop completely changes their day. Instead of just tossing a 50-page PDF report of suspected bugs at an already stressed-out engineering team, this AI workflow actually does the heavy lifting. It builds a threat model, discovers the finding, validates it by checking if it's reachable in a controlled environment, and then, here's the kicker, it actually generates a specific working patch. It gives maintainers this really evidence-rich progression to actually fix the code, which drastically reduces their cognitive load. To really prove this out, OpenAI partnered with a security firm Trail of Bits to target foundational open-source layers. We're talking about heavy hitters like curl, Python, Go, and cryptography layers like Sigstore and NAT Server. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter to us? Well, because these foundational layers sit at the very core of the internet. They silently run the apps on your phone, they power the servers at your local bank, they route your daily emails. By pointing AI at these specific layers to fix that maintainer bottleneck, the goal is just massive in scale. If you can use AI to safely validate and patch vulnerabilities in these universally reused libraries, you're effectively securing millions of downstream systems all at once. It's a real game changer. Section 3. The ethical complication.
All right, just when you think the crisis is solved, we hit a pretty dramatic complication. The technology works, sure, but handing the keys over to a fully autonomous AI to act in real time, that is fraught with intense peril. When we look at the peer-reviewed analysis from ethicists and policymakers, it becomes abundantly clear that deploying fully autonomous AI tests not just our technical limits, but our fundamental moral boundaries.
Researchers have identified a whole web of critical ethical challenges here. Let's walk through them real quick. First up, transparency. These deep learning models act like black boxes. If an AI decides to just abruptly quarantine your entire company's server, we need to know exactly why, or else we simply can't trust it. Then there's bias. Same AI learns that irregular late-night traffic typically means an attack. Well, it might unfairly block legitimate night shift workers or international clients from accessing the systems they need. We also have security risks to the AI itself, like adversaries intentionally tricking the model with poisoned data. Privacy is a huge one too. An autonomous AI constantly monitoring deep network streams could easily cross the line into unchecked surveillance. And finally, human factors. Basically, if the AI is too good, human operators get complacent and just stop paying attention.
But perhaps the most prominent ethical concern is what scholars call the responsibility gap. Think about this scenario. If a human security analyst accidentally shuts down a hospital's life support network while frantically trying to block a ransomware hack, we know exactly who's accountable. There's an investigation. But if an autonomous AI agent makes that exact same mistake completely independently in a fraction of a second without even consulting a human, who goes to jail? Is it the developer who wrote the algorithm, the military commander who deployed it, maybe the software vendor who sold the license? This accountability void can deeply, deeply undermine public trust.
To combat this dangerous gap, the U.S. Department of Defense established a set of 5 core ethical principles for AI. They demand that AI be responsible, equitable, traceable, reliable, and governable. The absolute bedrock of this framework is the insistence that human operators must ultimately remain accountable for an AI's outcomes. Even as the AI operates autonomously at lightning speed, humans absolutely must design fail-safes. That's why you see the ultimate safeguard discussed so much, the big red button. No matter how smart the machine gets, human operators have to retain the physical ability to cut the cord and turn the system off if it starts behaving erratically.
Section 4. The legal gray area.
But here's the real problem. Ethical guidelines are just soft law. They're voluntary frameworks. The actual legal reality in the US is incredibly sluggish. Take the concept of an autonomous hackback. That's an AI tracing an attack and immediately retaliating against the attacker's server. Well, under the CFAA, which is essentially the core US anti-hacking law, attacking a server is strictly prohibited for private entities. Period. There are absolutely zero legal exemptions for a well-meaning AI defending its network. And what about an erroneous system disconnect? If an AI causes massive operational damage to a civilian network, civil liability under the Federal Tort Claims Act is completely unclear. Add in the fact that autonomous data surveillance by these models brushes right up against Fourth Amendment privacy protections, and you've got yourself a massive legal void. Because there's no explicit U.S. statute detailing exactly how these autonomous cyber defense tools should be designed, tested, or controlled, developers and government agencies are currently walking a tightrope without a safety net. They're basically forced to self-impose rigorous governance. The industry is relying heavily on these voluntary frameworks precisely because the law simply hasn't caught up to the blistering speed of these new, highly capable AI models. The technology is moving in milliseconds, folks, while the legal system is moving in years. So we're standing at a profound crossroads. On one hand, we absolutely must deploy AI to secure our foundational infrastructure, because we have to outpace adversaries who are operating in mere milliseconds. But as we transition to building machines that don't just find the vulnerabilities, but actively rewrite the code and independently defend the walls, we have to look really closely at the path ahead. If an autonomous AI is given the unprecedented power to independently defend a network, are we truly prepared for the moment it decides to strike back? It's a striking question, and it's one that technologists, ethicists, and lawmakers are going to have to answer, and they have to answer it fast.